There's a saying that you don't know what you have until it's gone. It's a cliché, sure, but like most clichés, it's rooted in truth. I've seen it play out countless times in my own life and in the lives of people around me. The moments when someone walks away from you, convinced they'll be better off, only to find themselves circling back emotionally months or even years later, filled with regret. And when that regret sets in, it changes them. Their behavior shifts. They may not come right out and say, "I regret losing you," but their actions, they tell the story. It starts with absence. When someone loses you, the first thing they notice isn't always sadness. It's the space you used to occupy. Take Daniel Parker, a man I've known for over a decade. Daniel was with Rachel Simmons for nearly 4 years. Rachel wasn't flashy, but she was steady, kind, and loyal. She remembered the small details about his day, cheered him on through setbacks, and was always there when he needed someone in his corner. But Daniel, caught up in work and the belief that she'd always be there, started canceling plans, skipping over her concerns, and putting her second to everything else. Eventually, Rachel decided she couldn't keep giving without receiving anything in return. She packed her things on a rainy Friday morning, left the apartment key on the counter, and sent him a short message. "Take care of yourself." For the first 2 weeks, Daniel told himself he was fine. He threw himself into work, met friends for drinks, and posted pictures of his new freedom. But then came the quiet. He walked into his apartment one evening and realized the framed photo of the two of them at the beach wasn't on the shelf anymore. The coffee mugs she used weren't in the cabinet. Her favorite blanket was gone from the couch. The silence felt heavy, like the air itself was reminding him that she was no longer part of his life. That's the first stage of regret, when they begin to notice the small, almost invisible voids. They start realizing how much of their daily comfort was tied to your presence. Daniel's regret showed up slowly. It began with him checking her social media late at night, scrolling through old photos of them together, lingering on the captions she once wrote about him. Then came the accidental encounters. He started visiting the coffee shop Rachel loved, sitting at the table where they always sat. He told himself he was just grabbing a drink, but his eyes scanned a room for her every time. When he did see her one afternoon, laughing with a friend, his smile faltered. That's when it hit him. He had let go of something he might never get back. Another clear example comes from Emily Harris, a colleague I met at a conference in Chicago. She shared her own story over dinner one night. Emily had dated a man named Jason Reed for 2 years. During that time, Jason was charming but inattentive. He didn't ask much about her work, rarely noticed her efforts, and seemed distracted whenever they were together. Emily finally decided she deserved more and moved to a different city to take a new job. For months after she left, Jason barely reached out. Then, slowly, the messages started. First, it was a "How have you been?" Then, "Saw something today that reminded me of you." Soon, he was calling more often, asking detailed questions about her life and congratulating her on even the smallest accomplishments. Emily told me she knew what was happening. Jason was realizing that someone else might see her value in ways he never did, and the thought of that filled him with a regret he couldn't shake. Regret isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It might show up in late-night texts, in the way they linger when they see you in person, or in the fact that they remember details about your life they once ignored. I've had people from my past send long, heartfelt messages at 1 a.m, admitting they didn't realize how much they cared until I was gone. Often, these messages aren't an attempt to win you back. They're attempts to soothe their own guilt. One of the more powerful examples I've seen involves Robert Miller and Sarah Jennings. Robert was deeply in love with Sarah, a vibrant, adventurous woman who loved spontaneity. But Sarah got caught up with someone who seemed more exciting, someone who promised her a world of new experiences. She left Robert without much explanation, chasing that thrill. Years later, after her new relationship fell apart, Sarah ran into Robert at a mutual friend's wedding. He looked different, more confident, more self-assured. She noticed the way people gravitated toward him, the quiet respect he commanded in conversation. And then she saw him smile at someone else with the same warmth he once reserved for her. Sarah didn't say much that night, But she told a friend later that seeing him happy without her was like a punch to the chest. That's the thing about regret. It often arrives when there's nothing left to repair. When someone regrets losing you, they might try to rewrite the story. They'll bring up old memories, highlighting the good times. They'll apologize for things they never acknowledged before. They might even suggest catching up over coffee, framing it as casual when it's anything but. It's their way of testing the waters, seeing if the door is still cracked open. Sometimes they don't reach out at all. Instead, they watch from the sidelines, liking your posts, asking mutual friends about you, quietly comparing every new person they meet to you. You become the silent benchmark in their mind, the one they didn't appreciate enough when they had the chance. But here's the truth. You don't need their regret to validate your worth. Their change of heart doesn't mean you should change your path. Regret is theirs to carry, not yours to fix. If anything, their reaction is proof of what you already knew. You mattered more than they realized. I've learned that regret can be a powerful teacher, but it's rarely a timely one. It shows people the consequences of their choices after the damage is already done. It replays moments in their mind, the ones where they could have been kinder, more attentive, more present. And while they sit with that weight, you have the opportunity to walk forward, lighter than before. When they regret losing you, you'll see it in the way they hesitate before speaking to you, in the way they hold your gaze a little too long, in the nervous laugh when they ask how you've been. You'll hear it in the softness of their voice, in the unspoken words they don't quite have the courage to say. And deep down, you'll know, this is what it looks like when someone realizes too late what they had. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful thing you can do in that moment is smile, wish them well, and keep walking toward the life you were meant to live. Because your value is never dependent on their recognition. It was always there, and it will always be there, whether they see it now or not.